Hello, I'm Ban Ki-moon, Secretary General of the United Nations. The short film you are about to watch will take you on a journey into the life of a fisherman from a small coastal village in Tunisia, a trip into the workings of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. The convention is one of the most comprehensive instruments of international law. It covers fishing and shipping, pollution and conservation, piracy and maritime borders. Often called a constitution for the seas, it plays a vital role in our work for sustainable development and peace. This film will show you how bad practices can destroy our oceans and seas and the life within. But it also demonstrates how people are responding to the challenge and bringing about meaningful, positive change. I hope you too will be inspired to get involved on sea and on land in our work to build a better world. Thank you for your interest and support, and now enjoy the film.
It's been this way almost every morning for 40 years. Hassan Ben Mansour leaves his house before dawn and drives to the harbour. Hassan's brother Fatih waits in their small boat. With the practiced ease of decades of experience, they set off quickly to fishing. They always arrive at the same spot, an area marked by lines of palm tree leaves. Called shafia, it's a centuries-old fishing practice.
Shafia is a traditional way of fishing, and it's the best way because it doesn't harm the sea.
But beneath the water's quiet surface, there is another story. The Shafia fishermen of Tunisia's Kerkennah Islands are struggling with declining catches and income as change threatens the survival of fishermen, a way of life, and the sea itself.
Shafia is going to vanish. There is not enough fish to allow us to make a living.
Part of North Africa, Tunisia's coastline runs more than 1,300 kilometers along the Mediterranean Sea. Here, Kerkennah's archipelago sits barely an hour's ferry ride from the mainland. Population 12,000. The shallow waters surrounding the islands are home to vast beds of seagrass. The dense vegetation supplies food, oxygen, and vital nurseries for a myriad of marine species. It's a fertile fishing ground that has sustained Kerkennah's islanders for centuries. Fishermen relying on nature's resources, as well as their own knowledge of tides and currents, have developed an intricate system for catching fish. From high above, the shafia look like arrows in the open sea. Walls of palm leaves, placed perpendicular to the currents, block the path of fish. Looking for an exit, the fish follow the palms that channel them first into a capture room. Their only escape is a second capture room and doors that lead to large baskets called houses. Although shafia is a sustainable way of harvesting marine life, Hassan's baskets are not as full as they used to be. Fish are getting scarce and smaller.
In 1986, I used to bring from the Sharfia 150 to 200 kilos, even 300 kilos per day. But today, we got only 2.5, maybe 3 kilos.
Marine pollution is a key factor in the fisheries' decline. Decades of rapid industrialization and unchecked development around the port city of Sfax led to vast amounts of untreated water being dumped into the sea, damaging habitats in the Gulf of Gabes. But the most destructive factor has been the increase in the number of motorized fishing boats using practices like bottom trawling. Heavy chains rake up the sea bottom, scraping away all vegetation, nets scooping up everything in their path. Once destroyed, it will take at least 15 years or more for the seagrass to regenerate.
The big boats came and they took every fish with them. Those who are supposed to work in 50 meters are working in 4 meters of water. Everyone is acting violently towards the sea.
And making matters worse, an already depleted sea is getting warmer.
When the water gets hot, the fish move away and go to deeper waters.
According to the measurement of the Institute of Science and Technology of the Sea, the temperature of seawater in the Gulf of Gabes, including Kerkennah, has risen 1 degree.
Kerkennah a augmenté d'1 degré.
Hamadi Trabelsi, a meteorologist for the Global Environment Facility's Small Grants Program, says that not only have the waters gotten warmer in the last 30 years, but the sea level is also rising with disastrous results.
In Kerkennah, you will see palm trees and other trees dying because of seawater intrusion.
This one.
Najib Malik, president of the Environmental Commission of the Lions Club Sfax Thaina.
A few years ago, the sea was there. There were 3 beautiful palm trees here. Now they are dead because of the rising sea level and erosion.
Island agriculture is also dying. The weather has been getting hotter, rainfall less predictable. The land, like the sea, is losing its capacity to provide. Longer and more frequent droughts, together with declining fisheries, have forced many islanders to abandon their homes and migrate to the mainland in search of a better life. Those who remain, like Hassan's family, face an increasingly grim future. If the Shafia catch does not improve, Hassan's father, Haj Mansour, says his sons may have no choice but to take up big boat fishing to earn their living.
Now my sons are suffering. You saw it today. There was nothing. The sea is not what it used to be. Should they go begging for money? Or should they get a big boat and do trawling to feed the family?
Protecting the livelihoods of the Shafia fishermen is more than an economic issue. It also requires a commitment to preserving the marine environment. Limiting marine pollution is the first crucial step. Since the 1990s, the government of Tunisia has increased investments in new wastewater treatment plants. The plan is to control urban and industrial waste discharges into the open sea. Habib Ben Moussa is the director of the National Agency for Coastal Management, part of the Ministry of Environment.
We monitor and we analyze marine water in about 700 stations. We conduct thousands of analyses every year. We took all the measures to make sure that not even a drop of untreated water arrives in the Mediterranean Sea. And right now, we are working to put into place a management plan to protect marine and coastal areas, Specifically, there is one in the Kerkennah.
One project that supports this experiment was created by fishermen in Wulaid Izzadin village. They are making cement blocks. Once placed in the sea, the blocks become obstacles to bottom trawling. Abdul Kader Bawendi is the national coordinator of the Global Environment Facility's Small Grants Programme.
So any fishermen who fish with tools which don't protect the environment and natural resources will lose their nets. Their nets will remain caught in these blocks.
Supported by the Small Grants Programme, local fishermen have dropped over 1,000 of these cement blocks and plan to place thousands more. Designed with holes, they also provide a home for young marine life. And in 2009, Tunisia passed a new regulation limiting fishing in the marine protected areas. Called a period of biological rest, these seasonal closures allow young fish to reach maturity so that they can reproduce. Fishermen in the Gulf of Gabes were asked to stop fishing in July. In return, they received government compensation for their financial losses. The closure was later extended through September and will continue in subsequent years.
We were happy when it was extended to 3 months. The sea will get some rest. We need to preserve and take care of the fish eggs.
While important, these local efforts alone are not enough to bring the fish back. For that, fishermen will need some cooperation from the climate. But Hassan says they are not getting that.
The climate has changed, and the winds too.
What's missing, he says, is a wind called shlug that came every October.
Shluch is the one that rejuvenates the sea and brings fish from far away. Now the shluch is weak and doesn't get here.
Erratic weather, declining fisheries, degraded habitats, coastal erosion. It all adds up to a perfect storm of consequences for the fishermen of Kerkennah. And if global warming continues unchecked, some climate models predict that the islands themselves will be inundated by the end of the century. For Kerkennah's fishermen, inaction means a complete collapse of their fishery is imminent. But Hassan is hopeful that the efforts against pollution and overfishing will restore the marine habitats and bring the fish back.
We have to protect the region, piece by piece. I don't say it will succeed in 6 months or 1 year, but God willing, it will succeed in 2 years. I will sacrifice and give everything for it. I will not give it up.
Hello, I'm Patricia O'Brien, the Legal Counsel of the United Nations. As illustrated in the film, the oceans play an essential role in sustaining many communities around the world. However, there are many serious threats to the health and vitality of the oceans: destructive fishing practices, marine pollution, and the impacts of climate change, just to name a few. Much important work is being done around the world to address these threats under the framework of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. But more needs to be done. We all benefit from the oceans, and we have a shared responsibility to ensure that action is taken to protect and preserve the marine environment so that the oceans can continue to sustain us now and into the future. Thank you.